Hey guys, so today we're going to record a mega class with Tracey, a little bit of role reversal, so trainee teach master today. Let's see how she goes.
I just put her through a micro workout and I think it's payback time, so
You'll be okay.
sure I will.
We will see. Alright, let's do this. We are going to just get the setup right, put the cables down. So this is mega and micro friendly, but I will help you. You just sit there, relax for now. Alright, we are just going to start on 3 light spring in a tailbone angel. So you're going to grab the black cable, sharp handles. You're going to face the front. So, tailbone angel. Sorry, tailbone angel. So you're going to face the front. All good, all good. Face the front, cables in hand. And from here, we're just going to lift our legs up, and then we're going to crunch in as we close our arm. And then we're going to lower our back as we extend our arm next to the side of the body here. So we are on 3 light spring here today. On micro, you will probably just on 1 light spring or 2 light spring. The less tension you have, the more you can work your core here, okay? So we are working on core today, focusing on the core. So light spring is better here.
And if you're on the micro, you're going to be at the back
of
your machine, probably butt on the floor.
Yeah, butt on the floor, facing the back there. So just like different direction here, very nice. All right, we're just going to be here just for another 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, you're going to open your arms, straighten your legs, and we're just going to pose the arm up and down an inch, okay? So let's hold the arms open, halfway hold in 3, in 2, and 1. From there, you're just going to lower and raising your arms up an inch, up an inch. Legs can be slightly bent if it feels more on your hip flex, but you're just going to lower and raise just here for another 5 seconds before we go back to full range motion in 3, in 2, in 1. Let's go back to the full range motion, closing your arms and then opening your arms. You can drop your legs to the ground or onto the carriage if it feels too much on your hip flex. Looking really good. All right. In 10 seconds, we are going into a mega crunch. So what you're going to do, you're going to tuck your feet underneath the S strap and you're going to raise your arm to the side of your head, okay? Let's go into that mega crunch in 3, in 2, in 1. So arms straighter right next to your head. And from here, you're just going to slowly crunch in. You're really using that abs to crunch in. And you're going to lower your body back. My advice is do not lower too much back because it feels quite a bit to crunch in. It doesn't look hard, this move, but it actually works the core quite a bit, okay? So on the micro, you can sit on the carriage facing the back, grab the bungee, mimic the same motion here, okay? Looking really good, Trace. Just here, full range motion for another 10 seconds before we go into little poses. Let's go into that little poses in 3, in 2, in 1. Hold halfway, just going to crunch in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch. Here for another 5 seconds before we go back into full range motion in 3, in 2, in 1. Let's go back to the full range motion quickly just for another 15 seconds. In 15 seconds, we are going into a mega leg lift. So I will add 1 red spring to trace tension here, okay? But if you're on the micro, stay on the 2 light spring, okay? Let's go into that mega leg lift. You're going to lie down onto the carriage. Let's go there in 3, in 2, in 1. So I will just add that 1 spring and then, so we are on 1 red and 2 yellow on the mega here, lying down onto the carriage, arms straight up next to the shoulder, leg lifted. We're going to just start lowering and lifting the legs here, okay? So if 2 legs is too hard, you can always go down to 1 leg lifting and lowering at one time, okay? But we are going to stay with 2 legs here today. All right, looking really good. So the next time when you come up, as you come up, you're going to push your hands down to the side of the booties, okay? And as you lower your legs, you're going to straighten your arms. So as you lift your leg, you're going to crunch in and pushing down through your hand, looking really good. So the next time, let's try to lift our shoulder up the carriage and crunch in. How's that tension? Tension's okay? Yep, looking really, really good. So on the micro, you do the same thing. You're just going to face the back, lie onto the ground, okay, using your cable here. Yes, and you can bend and straighten your leg here, okay? You don't have to keep the leg fully straightened up. So do whatever your body is telling you to do, whatever makes your body feels better. Looking really good, Trace. All right, we're just going to be here for another 10 seconds before we hold that crunch in, and we just pose our arms straight forward, okay? Let's hold that crunch in 3, in 2, in 1. We're just going to crunch in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Let's go back to the full range motion for a quick 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, we are going into that mega catfish. So you're going to ditch the cables, hands on the C bar and toes onto the eyelid. Okay, let's go into that mega catfish in 3, in 2, in 1. All right, so hands onto the lower C bar, feet onto the back eyelids. So on the micro, you will do the same thing. Hands onto the high handlebar, feet onto the back rail of the carriage. Okay, you will be on 1 heavy spring minimum on the micro. Looking really good. So here, Trace is having this nice flat tabletop position. Knees are just slightly lifted from the carriage. Okay, so the shin is parallel to the carriage here. Looking really good. The arms is pushing out from the C curve, but we are working full body, upper body, core, and a bit of the legs here. Looking really good. All right, just here for another 5 seconds before we hold that carriage halfway in 3, in 2, in 1. We're just going to lower the knees down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to continue this full range motion, so push out the carriage, and then we're going to push the carriage in just here for 10 seconds. Okay, in 10 seconds, we start on our left leg into a skater. So left foot onto the carriage, right foot tucked underneath the carriage strap. Okay, let's meet in that skater in 3, in 2, in 1. So on the mega, we're keeping that 1 heavy T-line spring. We can always add tension on if required, but let's see how we go. So we start in that low squat position. Trace is going to shift her weight over the well of the carriage machine, and you're going to push out from that right leg. Okay, so we're just going to straightening and bending that right leg there. Looking really, really good. I'm just going to change my position a little bit to check Trace's form, which is perfect and on point. So Trace has her hands onto the high handlebar. That will allow her to sit deeper, and then will allow her to shift her weight all the way backwards, okay? Looking really good. And if you have a mirror, you can check your mirror. I am just going to quickly shift this mirror here so Trace can check her form into the mirror there. Nice.
It's so hot right now.
Looking really, really good. All right, so when we center our weight over the well or the monorail on the micro, you can work that outer glutes, outer thigh of the left leg a little bit more, okay? Let's see if we can sit down another inch if we want. Yeah, perfect. Looking really good, and really flick that hips backwards, okay? And chest is lifted. All right, in 10 seconds, we're just going to hold that carriage halfway in, and we're going to do little poses. Let's hold that carriage halfway in 3, in 2, in 1. From here, we're just going to pose up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, really pressing through the outer blades of our foot, and roll that knees out. Okay, knees is not collapsing. Looking really, really good. All right, we're just going to continue the squat poses for another 10 seconds. Okay, almost there, almost there. Now another 5 seconds before we go back to full range in 4, in 3, in 2, in 1. Perfect. Let's go back to the full range motion quickly. So on the micro, you can always move your feet position to change the tension. Okay, the feet wider apart, the less tension it is. The closer it is, the more tension. Same on the mega, but I think we have the perfect tension here. Yep. All right, just full range motion for another 20 seconds before we go into a mega donkey kick. Okay, so Trace, you're going to drop your right knee around number 6 on the carriage, and left foot will be pressing out from the C curve bar. Okay, let's meet me at that mega donkey kick in 3, in 2, in 1. So Trace is getting into that positions, and then on the micro, you will drop your right knee to the side of the platform. Left foot will be pressing out from the carriage. Okay, so you'll be on the floor doing a modified donkey kick on the micro. Looking really good, and Trace is in that perfect position here. So On the C curve bar, we are pressing out through our heel, okay? So toes can be facing the side or slightly turned up towards the ceiling here, looking really good. And we're putting more pressure onto our left hand, and our right knee is right underneath the hip. Our weight is not shifted to the right, okay? All weight, most weight is on the left side. Looking really good. Yep, this one is hard. And if on the Mega, if you move forward a little bit, so towards the back platform, we'll reduce the tension a little bit, okay? See how we go. We can always lower down the tension if we want. All right, in 10 seconds, we are just going into little poses, okay? Let's hold halfway in 3, in 2, in 1, and we're just going to little poses. In an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go back to the full range motion and let's see if we can fly that donkey. Is it too evil? Oh my god, I don't know. I know. She made me fly the scrambled egg before and the donkey kick, so yep. Alright, we are just going to hold this flying for another 10 seconds before we drop down and go back to the poses. Let's drop our knees down in 3, in 2, in 1. Dropping the knees down and hold halfway, going to little poses. We're going to pose in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch. We're just going to pose here for another 15 seconds, okay? In 15 seconds, we are going into a single leg deadlift. So Trace will step both feet onto the back platform and grab the red cables. Okay, so close the carrot first and come to the back platform. Let's go into that single leg deadlift for the left leg in 3, in 2, in 1. Close the carriage. So on the micro, you can grab the bungee and mimic the same thing, okay? Or you can just go into free weights, just go into a normal deadlift. So Trace is going to have her left foot onto the platform and then the right leg lifted at the back here. So what I want to do, I want to keep like slightly bent at all times, so we have a little bit tension on the leg here, okay? So we're just lowering, hinging forward, and then we are straightening our spine, okay? So when we hinge forward, I want to keep a small bend in that left leg at all times. So let's keep that a little bend at that left leg when we are coming up as well, okay? So slight bend in that left leg at all time here. So this time you should really feel that left butt cheeks walking here. And again, our hips is square to the floor, okay? So when we're coming down, our hips is not shifted to the side here, looking really good. And really engage your core here as well to protect your lower back here. Looking really good, Trace. All right, the next time when you come down, you're going to hold there and we're going into little poses, okay? Let's meet me at the bottom of the single deadlift in 3, in 2, in 1. From there, we're going to put the arms up a little bit and we're just going to bend and straighten our left leg, okay? Almost there, just here for another 5 seconds. I can see the shake there already. Yep, doing so well. All right, let's go back to full range in 3, in 2, in 1. Let's come up slowly. So when you go down next time, let's go down into that free form curtsy. So you're going to slide your right leg across the left leg. Yeah, we haven't done this for a while. Yep. So now we are walking on the side of our left glutes a little bit, okay? Continue the work we did on that skater. Yeah, looking really good, Trace. All right, we are just going to continue this full range motion for another 15 seconds. In 15 seconds, we are going into fifth lunge, and I will drop the spring for you, but you will step your left foot onto the carriage, right foot onto the back platform, okay? Keeping that red cable if you're on the Mega. And if you're on the micro, go down to 1 wide spring to do the fifth lunge, okay? Let's go into that fifth lunge in 3, in 2, in 1. So we're just going to close the carriage so I can change the spring here. And then you're going to pull all the carriage all the way in, bicep pull in. Yep. And then we go into that fifth lunge, okay? So the beauty of doing that single leg deadlift, then going to that fifth lunge, the tension actually feels a little bit less than just going to fifth lunge straight away. So you should feel actually better. Welcome. So we're going to stay in this fifth lunge for a little bit, okay? So like Trace is doing, so only tiny tension onto the cables. Okay, so she's grabbing the ribbon of the red cables here to reduce the amount of tension she is relying onto the cable. Looking really good. So we are pressing down to the left heel to drag the carriage in, and there's a mirror in front of her so she can make sure that her hips is squared to the front of the room, and then the hips is not shifting to right or the left side. It's at the center and squared to the front. Looking really good. Again, we are engaging our core here. We are moving carriage, so we want to engage this core to help us stay stabilized. Looking really good. And our back heel is super high lifted. Oh, yeah, sure. If you want to do that, you can do that. That's just a random variation she added. So maybe don't do that on the micro if you have you don't have the cables. You will face plank. But on the mega, you can do that. All right, continue this full range motion just for another 10 seconds, okay? In 10 seconds, we are going to hold at the bottom and going into little moonwalker. Yep, oh God, I can see that shake. Do not face plank. Nice one. All right, let's hold at the bottom of this lunge in 3, in 2, in 1. All right, we're going to moonwalker, so you're going to bend and straightening your back leg, okay? So have the back heel super high lifted there. And as Trace demonstrated, all her weight is at the front of the leg. That's why she can lift her back foot up, okay? So all your weight is at the front on that left foot. Looking really good, Trace. All right, we're just going to be here for another 10 seconds before we hold the carriage in, and we're going to that carriage kick with the front leg, okay? The left leg. Let's go into that carriage kick in 3, in 2, in 1. Hold that carriage in a little bit and straighten the spine. We're just going to kick that carriage in and out, in and out, like kicking a soccer ball here, okay? Really working that hamstring, okay? Really feel that glutes, that hamstring burning, and then engage that core to have your spine straighten up, okay? Just here for another 5 seconds before we go back to full range in 3, in 2, in 1. Start in that golden angle, and then we're going to come up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go straight down, okay? Looking really, really good, Trace. Really, really good tempo here. All right, we will go straight into the right leg in just about 15 seconds, okay? So we're going to start on the 5th lunge, reverse the leg move. So Trace is going to step her left leg back to the back platform and switch the feet, okay? So right foot now onto the carriage. Let's go into that right leg in 3, in 2, in 1. Close that carriage, step that right foot forward this time, left foot onto the back platform. So again, little tension on that cable, okay? So we're grabbing onto the ribbons of the cable here. We are using our right hamstring to drag the carriage back in, okay? Looking really good. Yeah, this time I feel a bit harder because that left leg is a little bit tired. Yeah, and she is going to lift her back leg again to show all her weight at the front. Let's see how she goes. Do not face plank. No, she is not going to face plank here. And she's going to lower her leg, okay? So if you're on the micro, just continue this full range motion. You do not have to do that, okay? Please do not do that on the micro without the cable. But if you're on the mega, go for it. All right, guys. So we are pressing down through our right heel to come up, and then we are pressing down to the right heel to go down, okay? Hips is square to the front. Even when Trace lifted her back leg up, her hips is square to the front, her hips is leveled up, okay? Looking really, really good. And she is working her core over time to be able to lift the back leg up, okay? So that's what you should be doing as well. All right, just in about 10 seconds, we are going to hold at the bottom of this lunge, and we're going into that moonwalker. Let's hold at the bottom of the lunge in 3, in 2, in 1. Holding at the bottom of the lunge, and then we are just going to that moonwalker, so bending and straightening the back leg, okay? So Trace is in that nice golden angle with her thigh and her shin in that nice 90-degree angle here, and the knees stay over the ankle, okay? Knees is not shifted forward, not backwards. Stay on top of the ankle. Looking really good, Trace. And that back heel, super, super high lifted, which is perfect. All right. Let's hold that moonwalker halfway in and going into that carriage kick in 3, in 2, in 1. So we're just going to kick the carriage out and then draw the carriage in, okay? So when you draw the carriage in, you stop with the ankle just right on top of the heel, okay? So we do not drag the carriage too further in, just stop when your knees is on top of the ankle, okay? Looking really good, Trace. The hamstring should be pretty warmed up right now. Just here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go back to full range of motion. We're going to straighten up our spine a little bit, and we're going to press down from the pressing down from the right heel to come up. All right, looking really good. 15 seconds in this full range motion, okay, before we go back into that single leg deadlift for the right leg. So I will change the spring for you. You will close the carriage, step both feet back onto the back platform. Let's meet at that single leg deadlift in 3, in 2, in 1. All right, so you're just going to close the carriage, and I am going to add that spring for you. So you will grab onto the right cable, so maybe grabbing onto the hard handle bit here might be better for you. Otherwise, might be too hard. Yeah, looking really good. All right, so we are just going to keeping small bend in that right leg, and then we are going to come up from that hinge forward, keeping that small bend in that right leg at all time, okay? So our tension is pretty high up here, so it might be too much for you to do a bicep curl. So on the micro, while Trace is doing this full range of motion, on the micro, what you can do, you can actually go into single deadlift with the cables as well, okay? So you will on 2 light spring or maybe 1 heavy spring, mimic the same move as Trace. You will probably step your right foot onto the back platform or onto the floor, okay? So a few different variations you can do on the micro there. Looking really good, Trace. So we're really pressing down to that right heel to come up and down. Feel that glutes really being worked hard here, okay? Looking really good. And again, small bend in that right leg at all time, okay? All right, in just about 10 seconds, we will hold at the bottom of the single deadlift, and we go into that little pulses, okay? Let's meet me at the bottom when you go down next. So we will meet there in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tiny bend in that right leg, and we're just going to pulse that right leg up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, down an inch. Yep, here's where the shakes come. So up an inch, down an inch for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to come up from the single dead leg lift, and then the next time you go down, we are going into that free form curtsy. Okay, so you're going to slide your left leg to the across the right leg here, okay? So now we are walking the side of our right glutes, warming up for the skater, and the donkey kick, which are going to come next. All right, just here for another 15 seconds. In 15 seconds, you're going to ditch the cable, come back onto the carriage with your left knee down around number 6, right foot pressing against the lower C curve bar for the micro crew, going to your donkey kick on the micro, okay? Let's go into that donkey kick in 3, in 2, in 1. I'm going to move out of the way so Trace can do her transition here. Perfect transition, really, really fast movement there, perfect. So again, Trace has her hands on the top of the carriage. That left knee is between number 5 and 2, those 2 red lines, okay? Looking really good. So our right knee is to the, our left knee is to the left side of the white line, okay? So that one white line on the mega carriage represents our center of our body, okay? So Trace is pressing out from her heels through the left leg here, really engaging her glutes here. Her knee is lifted to make sure that she is working super hard on that side of the glutes. Yep, she is working very hard. I can feel it. All right, almost there, okay? We're going to our first poses very, very soon. Let's hold halfway in 3, in 2, in 1. We're just going to pose in an inch, hold halfway, and going to pose in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch. Again, she should put all her weight onto the left side. more weight onto the left side, okay? In an inch, out an inch for another, yeah, the right side. In an inch, out an inch for another 3, another 2, another 1. All right, we're going back to the full range. This time, see if we can fly. Just fly for 15 seconds, okay? And we will finish off with this donkey kick in that little poses again. So we're just going to fly here for another 10 seconds before we drop that knee down and going back to the poses, okay? Let's drop that knee down in 3, in 2, in 1. We're just posing that like in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch, posing that right leg out, in, out, and just here for another 10 seconds, okay? In 10 seconds, going back to the skater. So she will step her right foot onto the front platform, left foot underneath the carriage strap. Let's go into that skater in 3, in 2, in 1. Closing that carriage, standing up, right foot underneath the platform strap, left foot underneath the carriage. Let's holding into that low squat first and shift all the weight, shift the weight over the wheel of the machine. And then we're going to straightening and bending that left leg here, okay? Again, Trace has her hands onto the high handlebar. That will allow her to sit down deeper and shift the weight backwards, okay? So imagine you're sitting on a chair, you really flick that hips backwards there, okay? So we want to flick that hip backwards so that our knees is on top of the ankle, okay? Looking really good. And she is checking herself in the mirror to make sure that her form is on point at all time, which she is. Looking really good. That right leg should be pretty shaky now, and the left leg is pretty shaky as well. Our tension is pretty high up here. We are on 1 red, 2 yellow spring here, okay? So you can change our feet position to reduce the tension here. Looking really good, Trace. All right, we are enjoying this full range motion just for another 10 seconds before we go into that little poses, okay? Let's hold that carriage halfway in, going into that squat poses in 3, in 2, in 1. All right, so we're just going to pose up an inch, down an inch, keeping this carriage super still. Okay, I do not want to see the carriage moving. We're keeping the carriage still. Looking really good. Our chest is open, our hips is flicked backwards, our knees are rolled out. Okay, here for another 15 seconds before we go back to the full range motion. Let's go back to full range in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going back to the full range motion. Okay, Trace has her hips flicked super backwards here, making sure her ankle is over, her knee is over the ankle at all time, okay? Here, full range for another 20 seconds. In 20 seconds, we are going into our obliques. Starting on the left obliques, we are going into a twister at the front, okay? So hands onto the high handlebar, left foot crosses in front of that right foot. Let's go into that twister, dropping down to 1 yellow spring or 0 spring. We'll stay on 1 yellow today in 3, in 2, in 1. So changing the spring to 1 yellow, that left foot crosses in front of the right foot around the first red line on the micro. You can just place your foot onto the carriage, okay? Perfect, looking really good. So Trace has her shoulders square to the platform, so the shoulder is not dropping down to either side. Okay, square. And then we're really anchoring down to the high handlebar, pushing yourself up, lifting that chest up, okay? And she is putting more weight onto the blades of the left foot to engage that left obliques a little bit more, okay? Looking really good. So on the back, you can also go into that mini twister, dropping your hands to the lower high handlebar and move both feet backwards a little bit, okay? So maybe towards between the first and second red line here. Looking really good. All right, in 10 seconds, you're going to lift your heels up, hold the carriage halfway in. We're going to that little carriage poses. Okay, let's go there in 3, in 2, in 1. Lift that heels up, and you're just going to push the carriage in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, and out an inch. Okay, looking really good. Trace in 10 seconds. In 15 seconds, we are going into a kneeling torso twist. Okay, so we are going to grab that cable and then walking our left obliques. Okay, so we are going to I'll grab the black cables for you, add the spring on for you in 3, in 2, and 1. So we are going to use 3 yellow spring on the Mega, and we are grabbing that cable that's closer to the left obliques, okay? Perfect. So we're twisting to the right side with the left obliques facing the back platform. So on the Micro, you can grab your bungee, do the same thing, okay? So your left obliques will be facing the front platform if you're on the Micro there. Or you can go into the cable as well. So you will do the same thing that Trace is doing here. So what she's doing, she's initiating her left obliques to twist to the right side, okay? And then her hips is squared to the front at all time, okay? So hips is not twisting forward, it's just your upper body, the oblique is twisting, okay? Looking really good. And she stops when her hands is back to the chest center, and then she twists to the right, okay? So ways you can make this move more challenging, you can straighten your arms a little bit more, or you can bend your arms a little bit closer to your chest to reduce the tension here, okay? Looking really good. So from here, let's see if we can go into that leaning torso twist. So when she come back to chest center, she's going to lean forward a little bit. Yeah, and do not do that on the Micro. You can only do this if you are able to tuck your feet underneath something, which is the carriage bar here, okay? So on the Micro, you will just continue this full range motion without the leaning. All right, let's twist to the right side in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're just going to twist in to the right, in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch, really using that left obliques to initiate the move, okay? You will feel that right obliques working as well, but left obliques is initiating everything. Here for another 5, another 4, 3, 2, 1. We go back to the full range motion just for a quick 10 seconds, okay? In 10 seconds, we are going to work our upper body a little bit, going into a sexy back with 1 heavy spring on. So I will change the spring tension. Trace will grab both black cable, kneeling to face the back of the machine, okay? Let's go into that sexy back in 3, in 2, and 1. So we're going to change the spring and then grabbing both cables. On the Micro, you will grab your cable as well, and you're going to face the front of the machine until like spring, okay? So what Trace is doing, she is going to, she's strong. So she's on 1 heavy 2 yellow spring here, okay? She's kneeling on the center of the carriage, and she has her elbows super high lifted and right next to her ribs, and she's just bending and straightening her arms, okay? Looking really, really good. And her gaze is slightly forward, okay? So you don't want to round your spine, your gaze slightly forward, a nice line between the shoulder, the back, and the head, okay? And hips is slightly lifted from the heel as well. You can sit all the way down, but lift it a little bit. Might be nice here. Looking really good. Looking really good. Again, you want to engage your core. I do not want to see that core sinking down onto the thigh, okay? Looking really good, Trace. Just here, full range for another 10 seconds before we go into that little poses, okay? So ways to reduce the tension is shift your body forward. And if you want to increase the tension, shift your body further backwards, okay? All right, let's hold halfway in 3, in 2, and 1. From there, we're just going to pose up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, down an inch. Really glue that elbow right next to the side of the body, up an inch, down an inch for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go back to the full range motion for a quick 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, we are going to that chest opener. So you can either sit down onto your heels or coming up to that kneeling position. Have your arms right next to the side of your body. Let's go into that chest opener in 3, in 2, in 1. You might want to shift forward a little bit, and let's see how that tension goes. Could be you might want to reduce the tension or stay on the same tension, okay? So when you sit down, you're actually working on the arms a little bit more, okay? So if you come up to that full kneeling position, you're working your core and your arm, but if you're sitting down, pure focus is on the arm, okay? So when we open up the chest, So when we open up the chest, when we open up the arms, we want to imagine we're clapping our hands at the back of our body, okay? So that will really open up the chest, working the back of the muscle here. Trace is looking really, really good. I'm just going to stand here so you can see her full movement here. Very nice. And we stop when our hands are next to our booty, okay? So we don't want to release the tension too much here, okay? So again, you can reduce the tension by shifting forward. And if you're already at, you can't shift forward more, then you can dropping down the spring if you're on the mega, okay? So on the micro, you will probably on T-line spring. All right, let's hold back in 3, in 2, in 1. From there, we're just going to open the arm to the side of body and then close, open up and close for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's just go back to full range for a quick 10 seconds. Give the shoulder a shrug here, and then we are going to that bicep curl, okay? So you can sit down onto your tailbone, or you can stay on this kneeling position, but you will have your arms straight in front of you, shoulder height. Let's go into that bicep curl in 3, in 2, in 1. See how you go here. You can sit down to that tailbone, tuck your feet underneath the strap, and then you're just going to bend that elbow in, and then you're going to straighten that arm, okay? So keeping your arms shoulder height will create more tension, or you can drop your arms lower to reduce the tension here. Again, on the mega, we have our feet tucked underneath the carriage strap, okay? And on the micro, you will just face the front, sit onto the floor. You can have your feet onto the back platform, or you can have your feet lifted, going to that tailbone bicep curl, okay? It might be a quite a bit heavy tension, so let's see how we go here. We can always drop down our feet if we want, okay? But Trace has her feet lifted at the moment to challenge herself even more. All right, just here full range for another 10 seconds before we hold bicep curl in 3, in 2, in 1. We're just going to pause up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, okay? Up an inch towards the ceiling and lowering down. All right, here just for another 5 seconds before we go into full range in 3, in 2, in 1. Going back to the full range motion quickly. All right, in 10 seconds, we are going back to our right obliques, okay? So we are going back into that kneeling torso twist. So Trace is going to face the camera, okay? So keeping her left cables with her, facing the camera, kneeling around number 6. I will drop down the spring to 3 yellow spring. Let's go into that kneeling torso twist in 3, in 2, in 1. So let's dropping down the spring, facing the camera. And then in terms of the way you grab the cable, Trace is having her cable underneath her arm, okay? So it's almost like an overhand grip to the cable. So your cable is underneath your arm, looking really good. So Trace is using her right obliques to initiate the movement, okay? Her hips is squared to the camera at all times. She is just twisting her upper body, okay? And hips is tucked forward, so your hips is not flick backwards, okay? Hip, shoulder, back is in that one nice straight line here. Looking really, really good. And she stops when her hand is at her chest center and she twists to the left, okay? Looking really good. Full range motion here for another 15 seconds before we go into little poses, okay? Let's keep this full range motion going just for another 10 seconds. Let's go into that twist. So you're going to twist to the left and you're going to stay there in 3, in 2, in 1. From here, we are just going to twist in an inch, out an inch, in an inch, out an inch, using that right oblique to initiate the movement, but still feeling that left oblique working a little bit here. In an inch, out an inch. We are going back to the full range motion, and Trace is going to that leaning torso twist on the mega only. Do not do that on the micro. Micro, go back to your full range, okay? Let's go back to full range in 3, in 2, in 1. So Trace is going to lean forward and her feet is tucked underneath the carriage bar, okay? On the micro, you do not have anything to anchoring you, so you will just go back to the normal straight spine torso twist, okay? Trace is going to be here for another 15 seconds before she moves into twister. So hands back onto the high handlebar, right foot in front, crosses in front of the left foot. And we are going into that twister, dropping down to 1 yellow spring in 3, in 2, in 1. All right, we're dropping down to 1 light spring here. She will have her hands onto the high handlebar, right foot crosses in front of the left foot. And then we're going to push the carriage out and then stop before your back starts to sink, okay? So it's small range of motion. So from here, Tracey is going to draw the carriage in using her right obliques to draw the carriage in, okay? Looking really, really good here. We are almost there, okay? Looking really good. So again, she is anchoring herself from the high handlebar. Her chest is slightly lifted here, and she's consciously thinking about putting more weight into her right foot, okay, the blade of the right foot here, really pressing it down to the carriage. And then she will go into that mini twister, lowering her hand into the second level, the high handlebar, and then she also shifted her feet backward a little bit. Almost there, okay, almost there. 10 more seconds in this full range motion before we go into that little poses with the heel lifted, and we're just going to draw the carriage in an inch, out an inch. Let's meet me there. Let's lift that heel up in 3, in 2, in 1. From there, we are just going to draw the carriage in an inch, out an inch. Our hips is now lowering and lowering, and okay, so our hips and the back stay in that nice tabletop. We are just drawing the carriage in an inch, out an inch for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go back to the full range motion quickly. All right, not long to go. We have probably 2 finisher moves today, and then we will call it a day. Okay, she's working very hard today. All right, in 10 seconds, we are going to keep one light sprint. You're going to meet me at the back of the machine with your hands onto the back platform. We're going into a giant reverse dancing bear, okay, walking both obliques here. So feet onto the carriage, facing the back, hands onto the back platform. Let's meet me there in 3, in 2, in 1. Closing the carriage, you're going to right to the back of the machine. If your wrist is hurting too much, you can do this onto your elbow, okay? Actually, let's drop things down onto our elbow if we can. Yeah, perfect. Just giving our wrist a quick break here. So we're going to twist the feet, knees to one side, and then we're going to straighten our legs and twist the knees to the other side, walking both obliques here, okay? So a little bit of a center core obliques move to finish our class. So we have this move and one more move, and we are calling it a day, okay? Looking really good. So Trace has her hips almost at the same level as her shoulder, slightly lifted because we are on our, slightly higher because we are on our elbows, okay? All right, I am looking at the clock. We are here just for another 20 seconds, okay? Yep. All right, in 20 seconds, what we are going to do is we are going into a mega plank to pike with the hands down onto the floor. She just swear it's all right. We'll beep it out onto the video. All right, let's have our hands onto the floor, feet tucked underneath the carriage strap. Let's meet me at the mega plank to pike in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so she is going into a high plank position with the hands onto the floor, and she's going to pike up, look underneath the Megaformer, okay? And then lowering her hips down, coming to the high plank on the micro. You will do the same with your hands onto the ground, okay? Looking really good. Haven't done this mega plank to pike for a while. She's doing really well. Do you want to add that shoulder dive, head dive thing? If you want, she pike up. She's going to lower her shoulder, dropping her head down to the ground, and she's going to come up. We have 1.5 minutes to 45 minutes. Is it too many to hold you there? No, we are not going to do that to you, okay? We are going to be here for another 20 seconds before she can call it a day going into a child's pose, okay? She's got this. She's working so hard. Just here for another 10 seconds before we dropping down, going to a child's pose in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, she's just going to drop down completely. Very nice. So you can go into a child's pose for a quick stretch, do whatever you need to do here. Open up that chest. It was pretty hard on that shoulder here with the plank to pike here. She's just going to catch her breath here before she comes up and tell me how good a class that was. Good class?
Good class. I can't hear you, but good class.
Nice. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the class. See you next time. Bye.